scary.
How surreal was that?
Very scary. Thought I was going to go back to Japan and work the rest of my career there, or whatever the case was. And within a day or two, I got a phone call saying they picked me up and
Thank God,
welcome to the WWF. And I went, oh, okay, cool. Very laid back, but very regimented. The politics that floated in WCW wouldn't even hold water in WWF at the time, and a lot of guys had a rude awakening, as you saw every week on TVs and in the back. And I mean, we were going through talent like, through a strainer. Guys just couldn't keep their jobs, and guys couldn't keep their positions because it was different. Now they had to play
Vince's game.
We went from AAA ball to the pros, and I'm not knocking WCW. I'm just saying the atmosphere. The way it was run, it's kind of like the inmates ran the asylum a little bit. I'm not down in the bookers, just the inmates ran the asylum, and you knew the warden ran it with WWF. Plus, we had a lot more guys we had to deal with. So you added 30 guys to a roster that was already full and strong. Now we had to walk in and prove ourselves.
I had a brief segment with Chavo. I believe it was Rebellion 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in fun. London. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think they didn't run with it? I mean, it was awesome. So I remember watching it. I was like thinking, you guys have natural chemistry, and they
loved it. They went with it, and but the flight back from London to when we got back to Newark, something happened. Someone suggested something else, and it just went south. Just so many guys, so many things. I think it was threatening to a lot of guys when we came in, and they're like, "Wow, we like that," and people go, "Wait a minute, I've been here 4 years trying to get that. Wow, I like that." So understandable.
Went to announcing. Was it hard for you to transition?
It was hard to get used to their set of rules. I always knew when announcers were talking about me and they broke away and started talking about a pay-per-view or whatever the case is, I found that rude because you're out there doing your best. So when I came in, I wanted to talk about what those guys were doing at that time. Give me a reason. That's what I told everybody that I ever had a match in front of me. I would go up to them, no disrespect. I tell them, no disrespect. Give me a reason to talk about you so I don't have to talk about Skittles or the next sponsor.
Fruity, yeah.
And they'd get the production to be pissed. See, corn dog. No, I'm good, brother. Thank you. But they get pissed because they'd be like, "You got to announce it." No, let Josh talk about that. I'm talking wrestling. That's what I do.
And that's something I noticed that with Velocity, it catered. I'm not saying it catered to the casual fan, but also to smart fans. Like when you're watching like pre-run matches like Bryan Danielson or something like that was like a known indie star. That
and Mike Moraldo's hot girlfriend.
Yeah.
Stop it. Yeah, you talk about those guys. Those guys were there for a reason. Crash Holly was there. When Bob Holly was on Velocity, you don't talk about the next pay-per-view or what this guy did.
You talk about how Bob Holly's the toughest.
Yeah, you talk about what's going on in the ring. Make the people appreciate. The guys wanted to be appreciated. And for a lot of people, they thought Velocity was a step down. It's TV, it's wrestling, so you still put it over the same way you would anything else. So that's the take I took on it, and I enjoyed 13 months of that. I was at Velocity a long time, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was a lot of fun.
I think you hold like the streak for most squash matches ever on TV. I mean, ever. I mean, it was every week you're just destroying something. I thought that character was just badass, and
came out of Tough Enough, and I was killing people.
And then it just came off the TV. Now, was that something your decision, or was that?
No, it wasn't my decision. It was one of those famous wrestling terms. Hey, we're going to go a different way with that. And a matter of fact, I was getting the best of Rikishi in a lot of those matches, and it felt disrespectful because that wasn't the way things were supposed to go. It was supposed to be a big program leading into a big pay-per-view blow-up, and it was like, okay, I got the best out of him a whole bunch of times, and it was just, okay, we're going to go a different way, Bill, and that's wrestling. You take wrestling for what it is, man. If you take it personally, it eats you up a lot. I was the trainer.
Okay.
I was the guidance counselor, the scout, huge heat. I was everything. I went to OVW and I did my thing there and did the whole time I was doing Velocity, I was doing Tough Enough and I was training at OVW. Then they came with the new developmental area, which was Deep South, so I moved everything to Georgia, and we did the Deep South for WWE. So for the better part of, I guess, 8 years with WWE, I did just about everything under the sun for them.
And did you enjoy working with all that? All the young talent?
I love training guys and helping them to figure out what they do best and make sense out of what they want to do and try to give them insight on how to get there. I think the best way for someone to give advice is to be able to back it up. And I'd like to think over 22 years I can back it up, Absolutely. And show these guys, listen, go this route. And the proof is in the pudding. In Deep South, we had I think 30 guys made it out of Deep South.
Yeah.
So for a company that was only open for a year and a half, that's a hell of a turnover.
And The Miz,
Mike Mizanin.
when you saw him, because I know he had a lot of doubters at first, did you see something in him? Or,
When he came, I met Mike in a few charity events. He was doing the MTV thing, and we did a few charity events. I met him, didn't think anything of it. He told me about wrestling. He's a big fan. I saw him on his TV show, and he, drunk and wrestling. And when he came to the
Pizza ever.
$1 Million Tough Enough.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, now we're bringing us pizza. Hugh, you want?
No, it's
sure?
too late now. I'm stuck.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mustard. But when he came to $1 Million Tough Enough, I sat him down. I said, "You're gonna have to prove yourself to no one else first but me, because then you put time in it." And that's the same thing Al told him. And the freaking Mike Mizanin has gone the way he should have gone, and he's a freaking legitimate star. As as anybody, as same as John Morrison, who came through the Tough Enough, and Matt Capitelli, who got hurt, but
God bless him, but he was good.
Maven was freaking great, and Josh, went on to be the commentator. And he's still doing that today, but he's in the business that he came into. So I get a big kick out of Miz, and every time I get a chance, if I can give a shout out to him, and I just like all those guys to know they're freaking doing awesome. I'm proud of them. I was proud to be, if I helped them in any way, I'm grateful for that, because it's just. It makes you appreciate the things you do.
Was that something saying, "Hey, we want to go in a different direction"?
Yeah, they were going to Tampa, and I think with all the internet jabber about certain guys who had lost their job in the developmental.
Get here.
Hey, Mike, how's that girlfriend of yours? She's hot.
I know she is. Thank you, Mike.
Smoking. Hey, Starling, everyone.
Man.
And that's big heat. And it's just, it is what it is, and perception's reality. It's what people read on the internet and what they hear. But I love wrestling. WWE called and said, even after all the crap you went through, what'd you do to get hell yeah? TNA called hell yeah. And ISPW called and said, would you do this thing after two? Hell yeah. I love wrestling.
You got to get on Facebook, man.
It's computers.
Even Kevin Kelly's on Facebook. Come on.
Kelly's the Dick Clark of professional wrestling. He never ages. Like, I just turned 31, and I know he's got to be 33.
He's like in the Tony La Russa All-Stars. They just stay the same,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, you're looking pretty good for your age. You got
45.
the hair. Wow, man, that's...
45. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
No,
don't tell anybody.
No, we won't tell anybody on the internet. No,
45.
Wow, man. You're looking good, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
I enjoy. You were Heat.
He was on Velocity. Get it right, man.
Al Snow was Heat. I was Velocity.
Yeah, no, actually Al Stone, according to Stevie Richards.
Al Stone.
Oh, man.
Speaking of Stevie Richards.
I walked by you. Look like Arn for a second.
Wow!
What do you call him, Arn Anderson?
Oh, man.
Arn's older than me.
Oh, man.
There goes that good, looking good for a 45. If you're a young stud and you're breaking into this business and you're trying hard and you're giving it your all, at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, remember this. It's just wrestling. Don't consume yourself with it. Don't beat yourself up, because these young cats that are 18, 19, 20, and they finally, if they're blessed to get the chance when they're 25, they're already miserable because they've done so much and put so much pressure on them. At the end of the day, everybody out there, boys, girls, referees, managers, whoever it is, columnists, at the end of the day, it's just wrestling. That's it, at the end of the day. The people who do it don't think about it, so if you aspire to be what you're watching on TV, it's just wrestling.
Well, Bill DeMott, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Pleasure.